Midway from the Japanese perspective, June 1942, the Imperial Japanese Navy was at the height of its power. Victorious at Pearl Harbor, unstoppable in Southeast Asia, and dominant in the Pacific. But Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the mastermind behind Japan's naval strategy, knew that American resistance would only grow stronger. To break their spirit, he planned an ambitious strike, the Battle of Midway. Midway, a tiny atoll in the middle of the Pacific, was a strategic outpost for the United States. Capturing it would not only expand Japan's defensive perimeter but also lure the American aircraft carrier into a decisive battle, a battle that, if won, would cripple US naval power. Japan's carrier fleet, the Kyoto was the most powerful naval strike force in the world. Led by the Vice Admiral, the fleet was confident of victory. However, unknown to them, the Americans had cracked their secret codes and were lying in wait. On June 4 at dawn, the first wave of Japanese aircraft took off, striking Midway's defenses. US installations were damaged, but American bombers still launched counterattacks, albeit with heavy losses. This was Nagamo's moment of crisis. His intelligence was unclear. With the American carriers present, he hesitated, choosing to rearm his plans for a second wave on Midway. Instead of preparing for enemy crisis, it was a decision that would prove fatal. As the first waves of American torpedo bombers attacked, they were decimated by Japanese Zero fighter. The battle seemed to be going in Japan's favor until high above, unseen American dive bombers from USS Enterprise and USS Yorktown prepared their attack. In a matter of minutes, three of Japan's carriers were set ablaze. The Kyoto was shattered. Admiral and his staff watched in horror as the pride of the Imperial Navy was confused by fire. Yamato, realizing the scale of the defeat, ordered a withdrawal. The dream of Japanese naval dominance had been shattered. Hiryo, the last remaining carrier, launched a desperate counterattack, managing to damage Yorktown before being destroyed herself. For Japan, Midway was more than just a battle. It was the turning point of the war. Over 3,000 Japanese sailors and airmen perished. Along with their best pilots and carriers, the myth of Japan's invincibility had been broken. Midway was a lesson in strategy, intelligence, and the cost of war. From the Japanese perspective, it was not just a battle lost, it was the beginning of the end. As the morning sun rises over the Pacific Ocean, it's 7 a.m. on June 4, 1942. Aboard the towering deck of the Japanese aircraft carrier Hiryu, Admiral Tamon strikes back and forth, his mind focused on the battle unfolding before him. Today, he carries the weighty responsibility of overseeing two carriers, Hiryu and Soryu, which along with Akagi and Kaga, form the formidable of Kido Butai, Japan's most elite naval strike force. This movement is pivotal, and the Imperial Japanese Navy, just 2 hours earlier, a formidable squadron of 108 aircraft was dispatched to strike Midway Atoll, a critical US military stronghold. This attack was a bold step in an ambitious plan to weaken American forces in the Pacific. Suddenly, Captain Tomio Kaku, commander of the Hiryu, steps forward with an urgent report from their superior, Admiral Nagumo. The tensions thickens, the alarm is raised across the Hiryu. The Hiryu suddenly finds itself under assault by American DBF Avengers launched from the still active Midway base. Spotters quickly detect the incoming enemy aircraft, prompting a swift response from the ever vigilant Zeros. The Japanese fighters steer through the defenseless torpedo bombers, which have no escort to shield them from the onslaught. Despite the brutal resistance, some American planes manage to unlash their torpedoes. Fate, however, seems to favor the Japanese Hiryu, and the rest of the Kido Butai evade the strikes by the northwest margins. With the immediate danger passing, preparations for a second strike on Midway commences. Deck crews scramble to rearm the planes, working at a frenzied pace to ready them for another assault. Yet, even after 30 minutes of frantic effort, only half the aircraft have been refitted with bombs, leaving the fleet ill equipped to manage enemy warships. Meanwhile, the hangars are packed with munitions, making them highly vulnerable to aerial attacks. an ominous risk that looms over the carriers. It is at this critical moment that the Yamashi receives the radiant report confirming his worst fears. While the exact nature of vessels remain uncertain, any enemy presence at sea is an urgent cause for concern. Then the inevitable orders comes from the Admiral Nagumo. Precious time has already slipped away, and now the Japanese command is caught in perilous dilemma, poised at planned strike on Midway or pivot to face an emerging naval threat.